Good evening, good evening, good evening. We are missing some of uh, our pupils.
Panelists.
We have one of our Kaleem was not able to get on today because he had some classes to take this evening, and Ashunte is in New York, so you're going to deal with us three tonight. So we're still going to have an enjoyable time. And we're going to talk about some amazing subjects and some things that make you think. So what we'll start off doing is introducing ourselves, giving our pronouns, saying who we are, what organization we're part of, and what keeps you up at night. And I will start. My name is Regina Livingston. I am the founder and executive director of Unspoken Treasure Society. I am what keeps me up at night is thinking about that orange monkey possibly making his way back in the White House. That's what keeps me up at night. That's a very, very scary thought. Barbie.
Oh my God, that's awful. Ooh. Hi, my name is Yasmine Prosper, aka Barbie Miyake Mugler from the iconic house of Miyake Mugler. Check us out on Wow, House on Fire every Tuesday. Shameless plug. And what keeps me up at night? What keeps me up at night? I don't know. I think my anxiety about where the current political climate is that keeps me up at night. It makes me think about what would our future be like if these people are put in positions of power to make the changes that they want to make that would affect the LGBT community and any other marginalized communities, including women, children. You know, that's what keeps me up at night. And my motherfucking bills.
Oh, okay.
Hi,
And
everyone.
since we're being, go ahead, Milan.
Hi, everyone. I am Mulan Williams. I am over trans services at Miracle of Love, as well as the executive director of Divas in Dialogue. And child, my trade keep me up at night. That's about it.
I didn't say my organization. So I am the executive director of Trans Safety Protection Project and Trans United in Elevation. Please follow our Facebook pages. Thank you.
And I must come back in because I had missed the fact that I am from the legendary, iconic House of Ebony, because you had thrown that out there. So I had to. And go on, give your piece, go on, give your spiel, Milan. What house are you a part of?
She's Ebony too. Boo.
Go ahead and them will glass can't take Milan.
No, it's the other way around.
Okay, they got this show now, honey.
So now that we're back by popular demand, how have you been, Barbie? Take a moment and just tell us how you've been.
I've been pretty good. You know, I'm choosing happiness every day. I've realized that happiness literally is a choice in all the things that's going on. You literally have to choose to find whatever little bit of gratitude you can in your in the days and the moments, even if you're having a bad day, you know, just trying to find one thing that you can hold on to, one piece of positivity so that that can keep you going forward. So I'm doing pretty good.
Okay. Milan, how are you?
I've been doing well, no, I'm not gonna lie. I've been going through it just here and there, but still focusing on the work. I find myself been going through a lot of depression just thinking about my mom. And so work has really helped me, you know, navigate through that, just to be honest. Yeah.
Good. That's good.
Yeah. We have a lot of good things going on with Divas right now. We'll talk about that later, but yeah.
So for me, I have a lot of positivity going on. However, I have my challenges. I've had some rocky roads. I've had some rocky spots in my relationships, but in all, I'm choosing peace. I'm choosing to take a little bit more self-care time and just take care of me a little bit more, because I think I overextend myself too often. And so I have to stop and just take a break.
Girl, that was an understatement. Girl, you are like Stretch Armstrong. You are everywhere. But needless to say, I think that it's important that you do take the time that you need for yourself. Giving is great, but if you're giving, and you're not refilling your own cup, or your cup is not being refilled, eventually you'll get to a point where the well run dry, and you never want to get to a point where the well run dry, because at that point it's too late.
Yeah, that's true. So have there been any challenges? Has there been any challenges, Barbara?
Challenges as far as what?
In your life, in your organization, and just period. Just have you had any challenges lately?
Well, I want to give you the political answer, because my personal life, I don't really too much share with community, but I can say that it's been a struggle to find that drive, that push to keep going forward when you just keep getting knocked back down. You know what I'm saying? Like, especially being a Black trans woman here, and I hate to start off with it being about color or race or anything like that, but I think that it's important to understand that there is a difference in how we navigate through life, being a person of color versus a person that's not of color, especially being in the LGBTQ community. I'm not asking for your sympathy or your pity. I'm just asking for your understanding and acknowledgement that our struggles are different. So for me, it's been a struggle when I see constantly, like, we're doing our best to put ourselves out there and to open ourselves to the community and help as many people as we can. But when it's your turn, it's like, it's crickets. And I feel a little bit slighted when it comes in those situations. I feel like, okay, well, I'm not doing all of this just to get something in return, but I would like to see that there is an effort for it to be returned back to me when I need it, if that makes sense.
Mulan?
Yeah, I definitely understand how you feel on that, Barbie. Challenges for me as far as work, well, one of the biggest challenges is that there's only one me, with a million things to do. But my team has really been helping me. We've had a lot going on lately. I know the community know that right now on RuPaul's Drag Race, they have the All Stars going on. And Roxy Andrews chose Divas in Dialogue / Miracle of Love as their charity. So we've been doing a lot of things around that, just getting the word out and really fundraising, just trying to get things off the ground. Challenges other than that, far as work wise, oh, I'm trying to see. I'm trying to pick my words right. No challenges for us per se, but I have seen there's a lot of challenges going on within Black trans women working together. I wish there was something that we can do to make the unity stronger and make it less as a competition and more as a sisterhood, that that we all can thrive and we all can help each other, but that just seems not to go that way.
I have to agree with you, Mulan. I have to agree. I came into 2024 saying that I was not going to be a part of any so-called cliques, because when you're around people, they automatically assume it's like a group. And I don't think we should be recognized as a group. I think we should be recognized as a community. I think that some of the things that we go back and forth about, or we argue about, or feel away with people about, or, I love to see a girl that's moving and shaking within community, a trans woman. And I'm not going to hate on her because she's moving and shaking. I'm going to take notes. I'm going to, and if I know her and I have access to her, well, what can I do? You know what I'm saying? But it's not about hating because a person is moving and shaking. It's not about hating because a person is getting accolades. It's about joining together for you to get there in the spot where she is. Right. I am so happy that my sister is a flower. Explain to Facebook what it is to be a flower. And I had an attitude at first. I am not going to lie.
I know you did. Girl, Natalia was not in my Twitter. Oh, God,
yeah, I felt the way because I saw it and it looked so amazing. And I was like, but I'm glad I was able to get myself together and speak with Dominique about the fact that I had an attitude and I shouldn't have. Not when I was being supported on other platforms due to her same umbrella. So I was glad to be able to say that, and move forward, because you can't, it's just like hate. And I don't like nobody hating on me. So I had to make that right. I had to move forward. We had an amazing graduation. Some of the flowers were there. It was beautiful. Mulan came up and spoke. Dominique was the keynote. So, it was a good time. And I just want Mulan to know to make sure I'm nominated for the next one.
Let me, can I interject for a moment? I think that, the scarcity mindset, Kimberly just said it's a scarcity mindset. I think that it's important to understand that there are going to be some level of competition. And competition is not bad in itself, right? It's when the spirit or the motivation becomes contrived that makes it bad. You should always want to always level up, right? But we're not in competition with each other. We're in competition to make it better for all of us. So that's a difference, right?
Right.
Change the perspective, and then you will see the results change as well. Change the way you look at it. Now, for you to be jealous, it's understandable, but look at how much blessings that you got. Well, girl, we can sugarcoat it and call it what it is, but we can say what exactly it is. I don't play the radio. I think that it's easier to judge and to say like, oh, well, why wasn't it me? But you have no idea how much work Mulan put in to the work that she has done. And what her walk is may not be your walk, but it doesn't mean that you guys won't come to the same fork in the road at the end of it. But I think that it's important to acknowledge, like, be happy. And you did say that you are happy for Mulan. And I was the first to say this. I love the fact that she was chosen because Mulan started it here in Florida for all of us. Really, believe it or not, she was the one that started the organizing for the Black trans women here in Florida. And after her, it was because of her that I got my first opportunity, and she continues to give me opportunities and continues to support me, and I support her like we support each and you as well. So I think it's like people can easily judge and be like, well, why didn't I get picked? But you have no idea what she had to go through to get it first. So before you,
that's right.
Before you question why not you.
Right, but let me clear something up. Right, but let me clear something up.
Here we go.
The one thing about Mulan, me and Mulan always talks. We always talk. And I'm going to tell you something. Me and Mulan, we tease each other all the time. So what we do is we call each other and tell each other things that, may be happening. And see, we don't repeat it. So we know we can trust each other. So we'll call, girl, I'm such and such and such. It's almost like we be serving each other. So it's like a key type thing. But we know we support each other to the fullest. And I've always given Mulan her roses. She's definitely...
Yeah, you have that relationship. We have that relationship. But the thing about it is we're not speaking about us specifically. We're speaking in general of people. People like, oh, it must be nice. Not to bring up Madison in this conversation, but with what Madison did for what's going on in Atlanta, the
That's
way that
amazing.
people responded to that and with such negativity and harshness, it's like, well, I could care less whether you like her or don't like her. Look at the bigger picture. Look at what she is creating and accomplishing for the trans and non-binary community in Atlanta that may be unhoused. Like, forget whatever personal issue you have with her as a person. Look at the deed. Like, that's what you should be focusing on.
And that's exactly how I was feeling, because when it was announced, you know, and being a part of it and hearing it being announced, I got butterflies, because to me it's just so amazing. And to see this going on the sidebar, that going on, people attacking this person's character, people attacking that person's character, it really was hurtful for me, because I'm like, wow, this nonprofit is really the ghetto. It's really the ghetto. Something so beautiful, something so, you know, inspiring as the starter house is, you have all this negativity coming with it, you know, and it just brings me back to appreciate when Natalia was saying at the beginning, where many trans women are not going to say that, oh, I did feel a certain kind of way, but I'm so happy for, you know, other people aren't going to say that. They're going to feel a certain kind of way, and then they're going to start gossiping, and which starts other stuff up. And to me, it's just, it's crazy. But being a part of this is, the Flower Crown Project is truly amazing. We haven't got everything off the ground yet, so I'm not going to talk too much about it, but you will be seeing a lot of us for over the next 2 years. And then that time they will have another 10. But it is really an amazing project. And hats off to Dominique Morgan. I met Dominique Morgan a few years ago, and she made a promise that she was coming for me. And Mama kept that promise, and I am forever grateful for that.
Come for me next.
Well, she came for me as well.
Okay, well, now you got your turn.
What I love about it so much is being a part of this is really seeing Dominique in action. You know, it's one thing you have trans women, you know, oh, I got something for you. You know, you hear this, oh, I'm gonna send this to you. I'm working on this. I'm on the back end of this. But to have someone really saying this and then doing it, it truly is inspiring, especially to me, especially being a Black trans woman, especially coming from where she's come from prison and everything, and to really get out and hit the ground running and really. Bitch, we were at the organization. She gave awarded Natalia and Jasmine McKenzie $25,000. It doesn't get any better than that to me. You really have people wishing and hoping for this, and this girl is out here making it happen and really blessing these organizations with that. And to me, it should be highlighted. It should be screaming. It should be all over, but it's not, because you have other people that feel a certain kind of way. Instead of just being happy for these people, you should know, be happy and wait your turn. Your time is coming. You know, just like Barbara said, we don't know what Unspoken Treasure went through, or the McKinsey Project went through. They might have needed that money right then and there. You know what I'm saying? It's a blessing. So yeah, I just wish that more girls would be more open to just being happy for others.
And well, whether they're happy or not.
Hold on, Barbie. Can I say something, please, ma'am?
Yes, definitely.
The only thing I wanted to say to that is that was a pivotal moment for me, because I invited Dominique to be my keynote speaker. I didn't invite her for nothing. That's all I wanted. I want her to come and keynote, because she has an amazing, when she speaks from platforms, it's just something that you leave with. You always leave with something every time. So when I asked her to come be my keynote speaker, I had no idea nothing that was going on. And so Mulan called and said, no, somebody told me that Mulan was coming or something. And I was like, so you finally coming down here is after how many times I've been back?
Here we go.
And so she came, but when we were awarded, I had no clue that was coming. She told me she was going to make an announcement of an award. And so what I thought she was doing was announcing that a grant was available. I didn't know I was going to get a grant. And so I was sitting up there boo-hoo crying.
I knew it. I was
Because
waiting for you to say that. I was
I
like,
was
you
sitting up
just
there
fall out crying.
because that was just that just was a lot. It was just I was very emotional because I didn't expect that. I didn't expect that, and it was just.
I know it
I
was
was like,
Everybody that knows
wow.
Natalia knows she cried.
and especially being at such a great event anyway, because the graduation was amazing anyway.
Oh my
So on
goodness!
top of
it
that, I
was.
know that was just like the icing on the cake for you.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because
shout
I
out
had
to
already
you,
been crying the
Regina.
whole day. I've been crying the whole day. The graduates had me crying. I'm talking about it was you would have been crying too, Barbie. Had you made
Yeah,
it, you would
shout
have
out.
been
No,
crying.
no, no,
It was
shout outs to you. You have really, really, I just want to take a moment to give you your flowers. Like, you have really, really made a stamp here in Florida, and you have really made it be known that you are a person that, you came here to do what you said you were going to do, and you're doing it. Like, honestly, your Unspoken Treasure peer support class is amazing. The facilitators are amazing. I see so much positivity coming out of it, so many emerging leaders coming out of it. So give yourself like the biggest round of applause, because again, your work and Mulan's work is different, but each of it has its own value. Like, genuinely has its own value. And you're doing such an amazing work, and never forget that. Like, even if you are or aren't chosen, remember, like, you've already been chosen by many other people.
Mhm. Thank you. I truly appreciate that.
And while we're talking about this, I'm gonna ask you first, Natalia. Natalia, who is a trans woman or trans man who are in the field doing the work, who may not be seen, or they might be seen, but you just want to give like hats off to
The kudos.
yeah.
I have the perfect person. Sebastian Smith. Sebastian Smith is so amazing. You have to, he's soft spoken, but he's very effective. And he's not running around trying to get accolades and taking a billion pictures and he's not, it's just he's a very sincere person. And I love talking to him. I love picking his brain. I love his opinion. He's kept me calm during times I wanted to explode. So if I have to give somebody their kudos, that's one person that I would definitely give the kudos, because he's not he works hard. He's pure-hearted. I mean, you can just tell when somebody really has passion for what they do, because that's how he is. And he doesn't need accolades, but he's amazing.
That's what's up. What about you, Barbie?
No, I was going to ask you, what about you? Who do you think?
It's a few. One of them, Jasmine McKenzie, of course. Mama Works.
But I thought you was gonna say somebody.
Natalia.
I thought you was saying somebody kind of low key. That's not really.
Oh, well, yeah, because Jasmine big, but
Right.
I'm a
Jasmine, I
fan of
love her,
hers.
and she
I'm
is
a fan of her work.
Mhm.
She's like you. Y'all have a million and one things going on at once. I love it. I wish I could do it. I can't. But kudos. But someone, I would have to say Ashley Figueroa. She has been doing some amazing things here, and she really keeps us together. And I don't think she gets the just due that she deserves. Who else? Jaya. She's kind of new to the scene. Where is she from?
Lakeland.
Lakeland. Yes, I've been seeing she's been doing a lot of things lately. I can't wait to see what she has in store for us this year. I know she's doing more work in Orlando, so I'm excited to see what she brings to the table. Yeah, and I'm really excited for the new emerging leaders like Kimora, Zamaya from Orlando.
Yeah.
Young girls, Marlo. These girls are getting grants. They are, getting ready to make their name for themselves. And I just cannot wait to see what they have in store. And I'm so excited to see, because I know that everyone on here, we played a part in their growth. So I really can't wait to see what comes from them.
And the one thing I can remember is I was on a panel in Orlando. Mulan always reaches back and pulls the girls with her. And so she invited me to be on a panel at the university down in Orlando. I think both of you there?
I think
Yeah.
was, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so Marlo was there. And so, me and Marlo was battling for who was going to speak on different subjects. But I sat there and I got into Marlo. And I remember calling Milana on my way home, telling her, I said, Milana, you got a beast up under you. I said, Marlo is going to be that. And she has turned into that.
Yeah, she's truly
and she is doing her thing. And I love the fact that she's teachable. I love the fact that she listens. When she's her angry, she will call and say, TT, what? Listen, I need you to talk to me. she be ready to blow. And I'm like, me, calm down.
Yes,
because you got something.
Can't wait to see what she has in store.
Yes, she has a lot. She has a lot. So we have a question, you all. I should say, remind us of your passion. Why is it that you do what you do? Go ahead, Mulan. You go ahead.
For me, my passion in this field is all my traumas from the past. Aja, you know me. This job literally fell into my lap. This is nothing that I went out for. This was something, hey, you want to work at the center? And I was in for it, and I fell in love with it. But while I was falling in love with it, I really see how damaged I was, because I was just living life like I was okay, doing my little sex work, getting my coins. I was fine. But really being taken out of that and being able to look in, I was like, oh, I'm really fucked up. You know what I'm saying? I'm dealing with a lot of stuff that I don't really deal with, and I just live on day to day and not worrying about it. But the passion is to be here for the next generation. They don't have to go through all the things that I went through and had to go through. And especially when we're living in a world where things are so different now for the trans community. Like back in the day, it wasn't heard of getting a job or working, honey. You was going to be a sex worker, or you was going to be a showgirl or a stunt queen. Sometimes all of them. That's just what it was back in the day. Okay. And now today, I think it is so amazing that we have options. Sex work isn't the only thing available for us. We have options, and I just think Divas in Dialogue is really making a stance and really being there for the girls and letting them know about those options and really giving them a second chance at life.
It is. And it was the model. It's like a model, like a lot of the stuff Divas and Dialogue's doing, I started doing too. I started doing some of the things they were doing. And I realized how important it was to start reaching out. And in order to reach out, you have to go out yourself. You can't wait on somebody to just knock on your door, because when it comes to community, there's a lot of people that don't even know you're there because they're living in their own trauma.
And so, one thing I want to highlight that a lot of people don't know is one of the biggest things about Divas that I love is every time that I do a cohort or anything, I make sure that I am hiring Black trans women. To me, that's just one of the most important things, is to hire our own community, trust our own community, because no one knows it like we do.
I think what drove my passion to do the work that I do is coming from a background, like a lot of people, just when they hear me speak, they think that like I'm just this academia person, which I am. However, I had a lot of similar struggles, just like Mulan, like my trauma, my struggles, overcoming homelessness, and I'm trying to learn how to be an adult. Like no one ever conditioned me as a girl, so I had to literally figure all this stuff out on my own. Like there's one thing to be feminine, but it was a whole nother thing to learn how to maneuver and live as a woman in community, in life, right? I think that when I used to go to work, I remember one time I used to have to go to work half girl, half boy, right? So my hair and my nails and stuff would be done. I would have a whole updo stack, you know how back in the day. And I would go, this is when I was younger, and I would go to McDonald's. And I remember one time it was Classic Weekend, and this guy came through the drive-thru. Of course, he thought, that the doll was Fish. And when he got down to the other window, Fish told him that I was not a girl. And because he was taking a while to come down to get his food, and they were asking him what he was talking about, whatever. And next thing you know, the guy came back around and tossed the drink into the window. And luckily he missed me, but the girls up front were laughing and they thought it was funny. At that point, I realized, like, you know what? Maybe this isn't for me. Maybe I don't need to work in this kind of environment. So I got to figure out how I'm going to transition and live my life. And at the time, Mulan said there was only a few options. You were either going to stunt, you were going to, sell some tail, or you were going to find another way of making money, however that was, but it wasn't going to be the traditional way. It took a long time for me to figure out that really wasn't my avenue on how to survive. And I knew that I was intelligent. I knew I was smart. So I made a decision, like I was going to go back to school and get an education. And I got my degrees. I got my degree in clinical psychology and human services. And I decided at that point that I was going to try again to go back into the work field. Again, I was going half boy, half girl. At this point, I already had titties and stuff like that. So I thought that maybe I could kind of skate in there because I didn't have my name changed. But once one of my friends, thank you, Tiny, had sent me some money, and they sent me all the money to get my name changed. It was like $500. They were like, go get your name changed, go do everything that you need to do and start living your life. That money ended up not even being able to be used because I learned how to get my name changed for free. And I did that all in Georgia while I was in college. I got my name changed under the property affidavit, and I got my name changed. And that's what really started my journey into figuring out how to help other girls accomplish the same thing. With that, and not to be long-winded, but with that basic essential step of being able to get my name and my gender marker changed, that changed the whole trajectory of how I decided that I was going to transition. And for the girls that were sex working, I was like, you know what? If you know how to post an ad, you know how to keep your customers coming back, you know you have transferable skills, right? You know this is something that you can use on a resume, but nobody is ever teaching you this because no one is ever telling you that you are worthy enough to be considered in a position of corporate America because you didn't see people like me and you working in corporate America. And when you did see us, you didn't want to be known or you didn't want to be associated with us because you didn't want to get clocked. I changed that whole narrative. My passion is helping girls who are coming from the corner, the internet, the rehab, wherever. I'm going to help you figure out how to change your life, how to make the necessary changes for yourself to live the most comfortable and safest and best life for you. Yes, you can make a lot of money sex working, but there is no 401k. There is no health insurance. And with everything that's going on now, these are the things that you're going to need to survive in the future. So why not turn this around? Why not use the things that you learned, the trauma, your experiences, to make this something that is going to benefit you now going forward?
Gotcha.
But wait, the real question is, did you send them that money back since you got your name changed for free?
No, they told me to keep it. So at that point, remember, I was unhoused. I was staying with one of my kids and I really didn't have a job. I was trying to do everything I could. I literally went to interviews and they were telling me no. And I couldn't realize, like, I'm overqualified. How do you tell me no for a job like McDonald's? And I realized it was because I didn't have the proper documents. And that's what made the difference because I looked like this, but my name said something else. And that prohibited them from wanting to hire me because maybe they thought it was a liability or maybe they just was transphobic. I don't know, but I never really went back to figure it out. But I did go to school. I did get my degrees and I turned my life around. And now, truthfully, I can say that I'm helping turn other girls' lives around, especially in the Divas in Dialogue program. and many of the girls that and boys that come and seek out my services. So if you need your resume done, if you need some employability coaching, if you need someone to help you figure out your next plans, hit me up. I'm here for it.
Amen. So my passion, and the reason I do it is because we didn't have this when we were growing up. We didn't have trans organizations. We didn't have trans women in any type of power. So to see it and to know that this kind of work was being done, because when I remember starting Unspoken Treasure, I remember calling Mulan, talking to her. So she's definitely one of my inspirations. So I called and talked to her, and I wanted to find out how they did their meetings and different stuff like that. So my first meeting was just feeling like we was gonna do a little kumbaya moment, and everybody in that meeting left that meeting almost like they was leaving a funeral. Everybody had cried their eyes out. Everybody had released their traumas, and we had talked about so much stuff. But my life changed the moment Mulan asked me to go to the march. She called me. She said, "Would you like to go to the National Trans Visibility March?" And I was like, where's that at? And she was like, DC. We all going, we're going to take the bus and da, 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 da. Even though she didn't end up taking the bus. We were all on the bus, but that was one of the best experiences I have ever had. And
I was on the bus with you.
We had a ball, y'all.
And see all those amazing trans women and no cattiness. It was so much unity that day. There was no cattiness.
Wait, girl, all that trauma that was going on up there, it was cattiness.
Well, no, I mean when we were out I'm speaking of when we were out on the lawn and we were all out there together.
Yeah, that was amazing.
Not the behind the scenes stuff. I'm talking about when we were all out. Just to see all those amazing people standing there as one unit was beautiful. That was beautiful. And it's etched in my mind. Yeah. And we just were all taking pictures and all loving on each other. And that was beautiful to me.
Yeah. Are we going this year?
Huh?
Are we going this year?
Most definitely. We're going to
I think we have to fundraise because we definitely need to be there.
That's what I was just getting ready to say. I got the flyer, and what we need to do is get all of our logos on the flyer and get it circulating.
Yeah, because I think these young girls really need to see that and be a part of that, because it really was a moment for all of us. It was special.
Yeah, I hope Giselle is spearheading the trans march now, the National Trans Visibility March. So this should be really good. She's an amazing, accomplished speaker. Like Dominique, I think that both of those women, whenever I hear them speak, I am like astounded. Like, I'm like, wow, like this makes me so excited to see people like them, both of them, who are so articulate, so educated, and like speak, because oftentimes people like us are always like pushed to the side because they think like we didn't have no experiences, no real traumas. We don't come from or what they consider the ideal struggles. But you have no idea. Like, you have no idea what our struggles may have been, may not been your struggles. But it's not. It doesn't negate the fact that it is still a struggle, right? So I think that we should appreciate all of our community, right? Everybody is not meant to be the speaker. You don't want everybody speaking for you. You don't want everybody going in front of important dignitaries and people and speaking for you and speaking ignorantly. So when you see people who come from a background of academia, don't take it as a threat. You know, take it as a compliment that this person is deciding to step up for all of us, and I appreciate that. So I have a question. How has the LGBTQ representation in media and pop culture influenced your life and your identity?
Wait, say it one more time.
How has the LGBTQ representation in media and pop culture influenced your life and identity?
I'm gonna be honest, it hasn't influenced me in any way. I mainly, I think I really, really, really totally got really comfortable with myself 6 years ago. Just to be honest, comfortable with not worrying about passing, not worrying about my, the T, because everything before that time, before I started the organization, I didn't know nothing about uh, uh, pronouns. I didn't know anything about that. I knew the trans word had came out, the transgender word, but we were women and men when I first transitioned back in the 90s. And so when the media first started, I shied away from that because I felt like it was going to start problems. I kind of shied away from it. I didn't want to, be connected to that. However, it's positive on some ends and it's negative on others. So I think it's like a mix up of, good and bad from it. But I'm glad we're being represented in the media. The parts that's good is the positive things that happens in the media, and I just, and one of the main things that I think is amazing is because you get to see that we are human. Because a lot of times, community outside of us have acted as if we are aliens from outer space. And so it's good that they can see we're human. It's good that they can see us in shows that we talk about who we are. We talk about the things that we're doing. We talk about our family. And they get to see, oh, their lives is just like mine. They get up and go to work every day, and then they come home. So you get the more human side of us through a lot of the media now in some shows. And now some shows, no. You have some shows where they're fighting each other or they're, some people want fame any way they can get it. And so that side of it casts, negative energy at times. However, I don't knock anybody for how they get it. Get it how you get it.
I'll answer the question. So the LGBTQ representation in media and pop culture influenced my life in a good and a bad way, right? When I was coming up, there was no representation of a beauty, right? I came up in an era where we were being mocked. There was Wanda and Jamie Foxx playing a character. There was Martin playing Shanae. Jim Carrey playing, I'm not sure what the character's name, but just a mockery of our identity. There was no classic identity, and when they started to show the dolls on TV, it was on Ricki Lake, Maury, Sally Jesse Raphael, and all those TV shows, and they were using it as like a gimmick, like, is this a man or is this a woman? And it made me realize that I didn't want that kind of attention. If I'm being honest, it influenced my life in a way where I wanted to live as normal as possible. There was like no desire for me to ever want to chase the idea of fame or notoriety in that way. That's how it influenced me in a negative way. Today, after seeing all of the accomplishments such as Laverne Cox, seeing Carmen Carrera, seeing a lot of these other trans women who are making amazing strides in Hollywood, not just even the black girls, but even the white trans women too, who are making strides in Hollywood. It made me feel like I am happier now to see us, because I know that there are some kids or young children who are looking for an example of positivity, someone that's looking for a bright idea that when they transition or get to the point of their transition, that they will no longer be taken as a joke, but they'll be taken as serious as they want to be taken, right? We have trans women like Tracy Africa, who were one of the first Black trans supermodels in the world. We have so many good representations now that my mindset has changed. It made me want to be more visible. It made me want to come out more and tell my story and be an example for other people. So that's where it comes to me in a good and a bad way, because in reality, we were kind of used as the butt of jokes. Now today, we're being honored and respected. Look at T.S. Madison. She got the Logo Legend Award. She's being notarized as one of the top trans players here in our world, right? And rightfully so. This woman came from making viral videos on TV and not TV, but on the internet, to now being a global sensation, being on fucking Beyonce's album and being a Grammy Award winner. And I don't think that's even going to stop there. She's going to get a Tony. She's probably going to get an Oscar if she really wants it. I feel like there's no limit for her. And I'm not fangirling over her. I'm just so happy to see her be a good representation for the next generation, because that lets the younger generation and even the older ones like us know that it's a possibility that we can achieve our goals if we really wanted to. So that's my answer. What about you, Mulan?
It really lets us know to never let our past dictate our futures. And I'm just so happy, like you were saying, it's like 50-50 for me. I'm just so happy that this generation gets to see positive influencers. Because before, like you were saying, we were the butt of the joke. You know, it was just a joke. Now today you get to see so much positivity, but again, with that positivity is always negativity. I've had to, and I'm guilty of it too, of seeing something like, oh Lord, they're gonna put us back. We just took 10 steps and now we gotta go back 10 more steps, you know. But I had to realize that that's what every gender, you know, you have positive female role models, then you have this, you know, so yeah, it's 50-50, but I'm just so happy that this new generation gets to see the positive and not just the negative.
Right.
So let me ask you ladies a question, because the dynamics of all the things that we're talking about is, you know, girl power, our trans men siblings power. What do you all think the first steps? Tell me the first steps that you think it would take to unite our community. Like everybody. Just without.
I don't want to sound like a pessimist when I say this, but I don't think that you can bring everybody along, right? Rosa Parks, but Harriet Tubman, she tried to free all the slaves, but some of them did not want to go. Some of them were so fear-struck that they would not leave their master's side. That did not mean that the train had to stop. You had to leave them behind. And I don't personally want to leave anybody behind, but I will leave you behind if you are keeping us from getting to the promised land, right? I think the first step in uniting people is to understand that there are differences and accept it, right? Everybody won't be the same. Everybody won't think the same. Everybody won't believe the same. Everybody won't practice the same religion. And that's okay. Accepting the differences that exist is the first step in uniting everybody, because you got to respect everybody's perspective, right? Now, having a unified goal and a one or two or three unified identities that you want to go towards, or goals that you want to go towards, is the most impactful thing, right? Because you have a plan. They used to say this to us in school all the time. If you fail to plan, you plan to fail, right? So, number one, again, is to accept that there's differences, and that's fine. That's okay. Number two, have a plan. Number three, identify the goals and make sure that you're working towards it. With that being said, that will help us get to the path of unification of one community. Now, everybody may not be on board, but if we get the majority on board, that's better than having none at all, right?
That's right.
I don't know what can we do, but I thought we were already doing it, you know. Yeah, it's just some are gonna come, some are not. Some are gonna be with the movement, some are not. Some are happy, some are comfortable where they are, you know, and hats off to them. But let me just go back to the what we were just talking about before, as far as influence. I am so happy that this generation are seeing fathers support their trans kids. So amazing. Dwayne Wade, Marlon Wayne. Um, it is so good for Black folks to see that. You know, it just
Yes.
really is. So I just wanted to touch on that before we go on.
Yeah,
I
I think let's talk about parents. Let's talk about that. So, who would you say would be your most or is your most supportive person in your family?
Me would be my mother, even though she's not here, but y'all know my story. My mother, she's the one that brought me out of the closet. She taught me at an early age to be who I am and give zero fucks. So my mother was my number one fan, and she really taught me and really instilled in me the same day I came out that okay, let me tell you now, people are not going to like you. People are not going to respect you. People are not going to this. She said, as long as you love yourself in the way you treat yourself, you don't, you don't give into that and just love yourself. And
mhm.
I'm so appreciative for my mom for that because I took that throughout from age 16 until now, So yeah, she's my biggest fan and my biggest supporter. I wish she was
Um,
here.
yes.
For, for
I would
me,
say the same thing. My mom and my sister and my best friends. Like honestly, I'm so fortunate. Like I come from a Caribbean West Indian background where being gay or LGBT or even trans is very taboo. It's not that it doesn't exist. It's just not celebrated in a way that you know it is here in the United States. I think that when I first came out, well, even as a kid, my sister was my biggest fan. We used to play Barbies together. My sister never turned her back on me, even when I was, a little bunny and I was what they call non-binary now. um, she just used to marvel at everything I did. She just thought I was the most fabulous person in the world, and she still does. And I love my sister so much, and I appreciate her so much because if it wasn't for her, I really don't even know how I would have gotten through a lot of stuff. And she brought my mom along to getting her on board with respecting the pronouns and calling me by my new name and things like that. So I appreciate her. And of course, my best friends, Dale and Jeremiah, like they've known me since I was a little jit, Florida Talk, a little jit. And they watched me transition from like a bunny to being a full-fledged woman, and I appreciate them so much. I am so humbled and so appreciative to have the support system that I have, and I know a lot of people may not have that, and I will be that for you. I will be your support, and even if your parents don't love you, just know that I love you.
my biggest support is my first cousin. Her name is LaShonda. She goes by Miss Angels Dupree. And she is my first best friend. She is my close confidant. She's always been the person I told all my deepest secrets, and I never heard them again. Um, we had a rocky time at one time. It was back in the trouble days. And but other than that, we've never been separated. We've always been each other's rocks. And when my mom finally came around, because it took a long, long, long time, and we still have, you know, some little times, but that's my mom, and I love her. And she supports me now. She calls me her daughter. She respects her daughter. So I'm so thankful for that because a lot of times people leave here without ever getting that. And
Mm-hmm.
so it's bittersweet because I don't have my father, but I have four amazing men in my life who have been there for me and who have stepped in and, guided me like a real father. And so I'm so appreciative to them. And so on Father's Day, I always thank them for um, being in my life.
Yeah, my father just passed away on March 29th. And before he passed away, he said to my sister and my brother, I was not able to go and see him before. I thought we had more time. I honestly did. And they went and seen him and he died a week later. But before he died, he told them to tell me that to forgive him and that he was proud of me. And, it's such a interesting life because having a Caribbean father, I keep bringing it up, and a Caribbean mother, full-blooded Caribbean, like it seemed like a different world. It seemed like a different world than my American friends who had their parents that, fully supported them. And not to say that my mom didn't, because she actually never gave me any inclination that she wouldn't support me. I think it was the fear that I had in my mind growing up about what it would look like to be disowned by my family. Well, what would I have if I had nothing else? If my mom was the only thing that I knew, who would I have in this world if I didn't have her? So not to get sappy, I kind of want to change the subject into what we really came here to talk about, which is about drugs, like drugs and sex and things like that. And one of the questions that I had is, with all the stuff that's going on in community right now, I see that a lot of our peers are engaging in, hard drugs, to say it the most nicest possible way. I think that what advice would you give to the young generation who are coming out and being kind of introduced to this world that we didn't really, we had hard drugs, but it's a different kind of drugs now. This is crystal meth, and
our hard drugs were coke. That was the hard baby. We did our booger sugar, 20 years clean, amen, thank God. But today, this Tina meth, I'm not understanding it. How, like, what got this into our community like this? And it came out of nowhere, it seems like, to me. Well, I didn't go out as much, but when I started going back out, I'm like, okay, well, what's going on? How did this happen? How did it go from coke? Because that was the black folks' drug of choice back in the day, as far as hard drugs, from what I remember, from what I used to do, and the ecstasy pills. But now it's just like, I'm so confused at how I got into this. It got into our community like it is. And I don't know what we're going to do about it, because it's really taking some people under. Like, you can't even recognize some of them. They're always so high, defensive. I don't know what to do about it anymore. It's like, it's crazy, because what I do know is, you can't help someone unless they're ready to be helped. You can't help somebody unless they're ready to make that change. And it's so hurting, because just like our organization, we offer rehab, but it's not like we can make them go. You can only ask them, do you feel like you need to go? And the response is usually the same. Oh, I can stop when I want to. Well, baby, why you don't want to? Because life ain't life for you right now. So I'm at a loss.
I think the advice that I would give young people is that you can have fun without drugs. You can enjoy sex without drugs. You can have all of the bells and the whistles without engaging in drugs. I think that when I was younger, the reason why I stayed away from hard drugs is because I knew that it was easy for me to get on, but nobody was going to help me get off of it. And I kept that in my mind. Like, it's so easy for my friends to offer me coke, offer me mollies, offer me ecstasy, offer me, pills. And don't get me wrong, reality is like, yeah, of course I wanted to try it because I wanted to see what it was like, but I didn't. I did try some things, but not all things. But not all things. I tried the things that I knew that I wasn't going to get hooked on, like the pills, like Adderall, in college, having to do papers and writing papers and having homework, trying to party and live and do all that. Oh, baby, I was popping no-dos, Adderalls. I was on it, but I never got addicted because I never did it enough to be an addicted person. And I'm going to tell you why I never did it. Because my father was an addict. And I grew up knowing that my father was an addict. And I seen the destruction that it caused in my family because my father was an addict. And in my mind, I did not want to be him. I did not want to be the representation of what he was. So I did everything I could to avoid getting attached to things that I know would lead me down the same path that it led him down. And I never really talked a lot about my father, but today I'm just sharing that story about why I chose not to do drugs. And the point that I was trying to get to is that I want young people to understand that drugs may seem fun in the moment, but when you have lost your way, there's no way that you can regain yourself by thinking that, oh, I can stop. Like Mulan said, if it was that easy, we wouldn't have addicts, right? If you could just stop when you wanted to, we wouldn't have addicts. And when you see your friends out in a community and they're engaging with tea, or somebody's asking you like, oh baby, you want to get high with tea, it's gonna give you this euphoric sexual feeling, remember that this person introducing you to this will move on, and they're gonna leave you stuck with this habit that you may not be able to afford, you may not be able to keep up, and then you have to put yourself in positions where you have to figure out how you're gonna get it, right? By sex working, by engaging in risky sexual practices or behaviors that may lead you into other situations. And this is not sex shaming or anything, or status shaming anybody. What we want you to do is, our goal as community advocates and leaders, especially here in Florida, is to reduce the new cases of HIV and STD infection. So as a person who came from an era where Natalia, Mulan, and I all grew up in the 90s and transitioned in the 90s and early 2000s, most of my friends are gone. They're dead.
Yeah, there's no way around it.
I don't want that for y'all. I don't want y'all to have to go through this life and get to our age and look around and see that you got 3 friends left out of a gaggle of friends that you've had. And it's due to drugs, and any other things that may have led to that. And that's why I'm telling you, my advice to young people is don't get caught up in the hype. Don't let your friends or anybody else influence you to try stuff. You can have fun and have great sex without substances that would cloud your mind. And anybody that wants to cloud your mind to have sex with you, that should be a red flag.
Mm-hmm. Well, ladies, it is time. We have completed our hour of sex, drugs, rock and roll, and STIs. Tonight's conversation got kind of off topic, but it was a much needed conversation. And so that's why I was so happy to continue. Our next time will be probably more on topic, but we'll also be able to talk about our sidebars as well. I love you, ladies, and I appreciate you all for being on time and being studious to the platform. And I love y'all, and y'all have a great night.